Hey everybody. Uh just getting this started. Whoops. All right. Let's get some information for you guys about my foot and kind of where I'm at on that. Uh so Swift's insurance for Texas is through Providence Risk Insurance or something like that. Anyway, they're sending me off to back to full duty. But I have an appointment with a orthopedic doctor this Monday, so I'm gonna go to that appointment, and then as long as there's nothing like majorly wrong with my foot, I should be back on the road. So, uh, kind of excited to get back to work. I've been off work for a little too long now. Hey, you guys. It's been going. Like I was just saying, I should be back at work here, probably this coming week. With today being Friday and all. Um, so I have that appointment on the 22nd, and then I should be back to work. Although I think I'm going to have to get another DOT physical done because I don't know where my long form is. I know where my short form is, but I'm not sure where my long form. So it might be towards the end of next week before I actually get back into a truck. I don't know yet. Just kind of really depends on how quick everything moves. But Phoenix of the work injury team, she already called me. Jenny, she's pretty cool. So, I mean, everything's moving along pretty well, I guess. Could be better, could be worse. Um, but I gotta go see that orthopedic and see what the orthopedic surgeon says about my foot. And then moving on, I know I said I was going to do some stock trading videos, but just with my finances and everything else, I haven't really been able to get to doing that, unfortunately. So I don't really have any videos there. So yeah, hopefully I can get back to trying to do some of that, try to get some money back into the bank. Um, and I'm hoping to be able to hit that 10,000 subscriber limit. I've been working pretty hard on trying to get to that 10,000 limit. What is my subscriber rate? Oh, 7,500 going for 76. So it's getting there. Although when I do hit that 10,000, I am going to be giving away 10 ounces of silver. So, help me get to that 10,000. Yeah, they keep on talking about the stimulus check, guys. And then there's one for like, critical workers, the essential guys. And I'm wondering where that check is at. Uh, it would be really quite nice, especially with my current situation and being at work for as long as I have. But I mean, that'd be taxing on. Well, actually, I don't have any kids, but it would be taxing on my kids if I have kids ever. Uh, so Jack, I don't know if I'm going to be getting my truck back yet or not, but I'm hoping I'm going to be getting my KW back. Um, it is still at the Walmart DC. Another driver's running it. The last I saw my truck, it still had my name on the door, so they didn't remove that. So that's pretty cool for the guy that was using it. So I'm hoping to get the same truck. If not, it might be a new truck because my truck already had like 250,000 miles on it. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be getting me another one here pretty soon. Take it easy, Chris. Yeah, definitely stay safe out there, especially with all this riding crap. I was hearing some talking about that. The whole police situation happening out in Atlanta, Georgia. Man, I'm happy I'm not OTR. I I don't want to get into the whole debate of just political. I try to keep political out of my YouTube channel. I hope you guys appreciate that. But from a point of view of, truck driving and whatnot, I'm not going to go to a town that doesn't have police. Truck drivers have been shot at. We've been run off the road, robberies, theft, just all kinds of things. Personally, I'm not going to go to a town that doesn't have police. I just don't think that's very smart. On the rag, no. Over the road it stands for OTR. I actually really enjoy OTR versus doing the dedicated stuff. The thing with the dedicated, it's awesome because your miles are very secure, so in a sense. You always get the same amount of miles and everything else. The problem comes in, you drive down the exact same road all the time, and that gets really boring. Where OTR, you're crisscrossing every which way, and you don't know what you're doing until you're actually driving there. I've been on mountaintops in 0-degree weather, and then not even a week later, I'm in 80-degree weather in the south part of Miami. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I will be doing some more backing videos, and there's 2 comments that I see talking about firearms. Until there's a national carry, it's really difficult to carry a firearm with all the different states, cities, counties, yada, 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 pertaining to firearms. I'm a concealed carry. I have a Texas, a concealed carry permit, so I carry when I'm not on the job. While I'm on the job, due to crisscrossing states and just everything else, it makes carrying quite difficult. Now, if you're an owner-operator and you were able to kind of like limit where you go, and stay out of locations that your license would not be valid, I mean, then you can drive around while you're concealed carrying. But with a Texas license, and if I want to go to California or New York or Illinois, or I don't remember all the other states, I can't go there, and my sidearm holds more than whatever rounds California thinks is safe for me to carry. I don't get California. Yes, I'll just leave it at that. I'm a very strong Second Amendment supporter. It's a lot easier for me to carry a sidearm in my back pocket than a police officer. Police officers weigh a lot more than just the heaviest sidearm I know of, and you got to feed them, and they want to eat and drink and take a shit. My sidearm just sits there, doesn't do anything. It's kind of nice. Don't have to feed it food anyway. That was a bit of a complete rant there. Jay, yes, I will be, getting back to training. I might go a week, 2 weeks, just going solo because I've been out of driving for a good minute. So I might do solo for a little bit, just get some backing back in, get used to driving 10 plus hours a day. But yeah, I'll be, if I go back to work, I will be looking to get students in a pretty short amount of time. The icon, dude, that was pretty funny. RPGs. Yeah, never mind. RPG would definitely do a lot. So, John, that's actually a great question. It depends on what you're trying to do, okay? The career field as a truck driver, depending on what company you go to, depending on the route or your driver manager, I mean, there's a lot of factors along with what you're capable of doing, okay? There's a lot of people who think that they know how to drive, but then when you put them in a semi truck and tell them to drive for 10 hours straight, they can't do it. They can't keep that left door closed, which basically means stay on the highway. Every time you get off the highway, it takes a lot of time, just to run into the gas station. It's an easy 30, 40 minutes. And with that 14-hour countdown clock, it adds up very, very quick. But I would say on average, the low end OTR, I would say maybe 700, 800. High end, you could probably get up to 14, 1300, and that's take home pay. You could probably get up to 13, 14. Dedicated, you could hit, 1200 to 15, 1600 a week. Yes, flatbed does pay more. It pays actually significantly more, but you're also having to deal with a whole lot of crap. What do I call crap? Having to try to tarp something when the tarp is like 110 pounds, I'm 180 pounds, so the tarp weighs more than half I do. And trying to do that, like, let's say, like Wyoming, in the heavy wind, with the snow and ice everywhere. Hell no. If I'm trying to hold on to a damn tarp that's, like truck size, and it weighs more than I do, I might have to call the FAA to get clearance to re-land somewhere. I just see the wind taking that tarp, and I'm going to be gone. So I rather stick with the dry vans than the dry vans, reefers, everything but flatbed. But there are some people, they really love flatbed. Okay, they love the energy, the workout. You're going to be doing a lot of different things. Hauling flatbed, you're going to be in very remote places. So I mean, there's some cool things about doing flatbed. But frankly, I'm too damn skinny for that. And my lower back, it ain't going to cut it either. My lower back cannot handle that much weight. Not enough time on bridges. Yeah, I mean, I could see being an ambulance driver, especially emotionally difficult, especially, if you're seeing, people getting hurt doing, I guess, stupid stuff and maybe not so stupid stuff, but driving a truck, you can make good money, but it can come and go like really any other job. So, you could have a slow week and you could have like just a mind-boggling busy week. If you're doing a dedicated, like craft is a pretty good account. I did craft, and that's OTR-ish. And your miles are going to be pretty stable, and you could get a pretty stable week, month to month, week to week, no problem. New drivers, that can depend from, I think the lowest that Swift is paying like 38, 40 cents a mile. And then it could go up from there. I think Walmart starts off like 44, 45, somewhere in there. Don't quote me, guys. But it starts to ramp up. Plus, you get all that stop pay. Baker, I can't talk about flatbed. I've never worked flatbed. Best thing I could say is email me at stephan.harz, YT. Here, I'll type it into the chat. Just email me kind of like what you guys are looking to do, and then I'll forward that off to the to a Swift recruiter that I'm working with, and she could answer all your questions about pay, training requirements, yada 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 yada. I don't know that much about flatbed, so I can't help you there. But my opinion, because of my back injury and I'm just really lazy and don't want to tarp something that's where the tarp is more than 2/3 my weight, and it could be really cold and windy or raining. Yeah, never mind. I like the fact that I just have to open a door, close a door, and watch somebody else unload the trailer for me. It's kind of easy until you get hit by a freaking pallet of toilet paper, which crushes your whole damn right foot. Talk about a shitty situation. Sorry, I just had to put that in there. It's really annoying how bad Charmin Ultra quilted toilet paper can really mess up your foot when it's a whole damn pallet. Anyway, so here's the reason why Swift has a bad reputation, along with CR England, Crest, any of those big companies that are training, okay, or trainer companies. They get a bad rep because it's simple. It's a training company. They get a bunch of students and they teach students how to become truck drivers. Well, if you have a whole bunch of new drivers, mistakes will happen, okay? And then you also throw in some kind of crappy, trainers in there that don't know how to train, and mistakes are going to end up happening, okay? But Swift has really been working on, getting better trainers, paying the trainers more so that we want to be training and doing the best that we can, training that student. If a student goes platinum, okay, or platinum, the mentor actually gets a bonus for that. So we want that student to be able to drive 2,200 miles a week and not have any accidents. Okay, I mean that's ideal for 6 months. I think about 6 months, and then we get a bonus for that. So it's a real drive for the mentors to teach the students what to do and how to do it correctly. The hardest back is the one that you're doing when you're dead tired. Okay, so here's a little story about backing that's actually kind of funny. So I actually had a student, and it was a straight line back. Straight line, guys. Straight line back. But I was dead tired. I was really tired. And I was trying to back up, but for some reason, it was like there was a force field. And the trailer did not want to go into that spot. For whatever reason, it just did not want to go in. And I actually got frustrated. But at the same time, that's where, when you're sitting there and you realize that you're tired, you're screwing up, and you're doing what I like to call is wagging the tail, where you're moving that tractor side to side, side to side, side to side. You need to take note of that. Slow down, stop, get out, walk around the truck, the trailer, take a deep breath, and then do it again, and you'll get it in just fine. It took me a second to get that trailer in. So it was embarrassing, but at the same time, there's really not any real particular back that's super difficult. They can be tricky. But slow down, take your time, get out and look. Honestly, those 3 things will make any back a lot easier. It's when you try to rush, or when you're really tired, or you need to go to the bathroom, so you're trying to rush so you can get to the bathroom, you're going to make a mistake. Just slow down, honestly. Blindsiding is a little bit difficult and can be fun. But again, here's the thing that I try to teach my students. So this being the truck, right? And this is the trailer. All right. So I'll do it like this. So when you're doing a driver's side back, when you're backing like this, right? And this being the driver's side, it's pretty easy to back up because you can see everything, right? Well, here's the amazing thing. Say this is 45 this way. The trailer is going to do, what you expect of it being 45 on the driver's side. It will actually do the exact same thing when you're 45 this way. So if you learn what the trailer does here, it will actually do the exact same thing on this side as well. So it's a bit of muscle memory in knowing what that trailer is going to do and paying attention to your trailer and getting an angle on that truck and trailer that's repeatable. So, I like to tell my students to watch the very front of the trailer and the cab of the truck and the angle that you're putting on that truck and trailer, because you can see that from either left or the right hand side, which makes your backing a lot easier. I will try to do a video on that when I go back to work, because I will be solo, so I'll have a lot of time to kind of like just do some videos like that for you guys. But it's really not that difficult. Um, so on the Swift leasing program, again, that's not something I can give you a lot of information on. Just send me an email to the email that I already provided, and I will get with somebody who can get you all the information on the Swift lease thing. Um, yeah, some of the Costco stores can suck. But I haven't done Lowe's, but I did Home Depot, and Home Depot is actually not difficult, but it kind of sucks. Here's the reason why Home Depot can suck though. You have a loaded trailer. You have to drop that trailer, pick up the empty trailer, pull that trailer out of the door, drop that trailer, grab your loaded trailer, put that in the door that you just took the empty trailer from, drop that trailer, and then hook up to your empty trailer, and then you're ready to leave. It's too much work for me. I didn't like that with Home Depot. I did Home Depot out of the Rapid Deployment Center in Phoenix, Arizona. The people over there are actually really fantastic. It's just having to pick up and drop that trailer that many times all the time kind of sucked. But they paid for it. So, I mean, it's really not an issue. It's just, I like Walmart. You just drive to the store and they unload it. Anyway, how long did you work for Sprint Truck Lines there? David, I am going to be training, but I'm going to take, when I go back to work, because I've been off work for, as of today, 3 months. I've been off work with my foot. So when I get back to work, I'm probably going to drive solo for a week, maybe two, to just get back into the flow of things, and just kind of get used to driving. So when I go, I'll go solo for a week or two. I'll have some good videos for you guys again. So yeah, that's that. Oh, that's the way it is in Target, up in Ohio. I did Target here in Denton County, Texas. There, you didn't have to do all that crazy moving stuff, as they had like multiple stops on a trailer. So it was just get it to a dock and just do your thing. But doing all that drop and hook stuff, I mean, especially, well, if you have the airbag dumps on your tractor, which drops the whole rear end of the truck, you could actually set the landing gear to where if you drop your airbags, you could actually get out from underneath the trailer without having to roll up the landing gear every time. And you could also cheat and just put the red line on and not even put the blue or the lights on. And so, I mean, you can shave a little bit of time off on moving that trailer. But honestly, throwing the blue line onto is not that difficult and gives you full brakes. But, I mean, if you have the airbag dumps, it's not absolutely terrible. But some of these newer Swift trucks don't come with the airbag dumps or the airbag gauge for the rear drives. And whenever I get back to a truck, I'm actually going to be doing a video on that, because I have a guy, an upper person in Swift, who actually wants to see that video. So I'll be getting to that. Hey, EJ. And Opicalicula. How the hell do you pronounce that place that you're doing Walmart at? I don't think I have heard that Walmart. Yes, I will be doing OTR. I've thought about maybe later on this year, if the account I'm working on, the Walmart DC here in Temple, if it slows down, I'll probably go OTR, to keep my miles going, keep my miles up. But at this minute, I have no idea what's going on over there since I've been out of work for 3 months. But with the whole coronavirus thing, I'm pretty sure they got a lot of miles going right now. Um, so it's not really something I need to worry about, having to worry about not getting miles. Sorry, my dog was at the bottom of my feet wanting me to pet her. Um, yeah, the mountains can be a little frustrating, but honestly, if you're using the engine brake, you shouldn't even need to use the service brakes at all to go down the mountainsides. Uh, if you have to touch the service brake while going, down any grade, it means you're actually going too fast. You should slow down to the point that your engine brake can actually slow you down and hold you out. Um, I don't have to be rehired because I was out on a work injury. So I'll be going right back to a truck. They might have me do a drug test just to make sure I wasn't living it up while I was off work, which I wouldn't be. I don't have the time for that. And then they might have me do another physical. I don't know. But I didn't take just an absent leave from work. I had to take off from work because of a work injury. So I don't think I have to go through a rehiring process. So Layla is actually doing pretty good. She gets sick every now and then, but generally she's actually doing really well. Um, and she has actually gotten a little picky. So sometimes she doesn't feel like eating. So I've been mixing in people food in her dog food. And I think she's learned that she doesn't have to eat her dog food anymore without people food being mixed in. And so she won't eat her dog food at all until I mix in a little, either some chicken, some rice, or something in there for her. So, yes, I'm talking to you about you. She's down here looking at me. So, yeah, she's a pretty smart dog. Um, yeah, I guess you could put that cruise control on if you're going downhill or down a mountainside, but it may not be that ideal to do that. Uh, Better off actually putting it in manual, engine brake, downshift. Um, yeah, I think I've been on the I-5. It's been a while since I've actually driven up in Oregon, but there's some beautiful roads out that way. I'm actually pulling up Google Maps right now to take a look at that area. I've been doing Texas for quite a while now. Um, yeah, I've been up through I-5, going up to Portland. Another road that is actually a lot of fun is when you're going from uh, Spokane, and I totally butchered that one. Going down to Nevada, um, Las Vegas. There's going down from Oregon to Las Vegas. I also like going down 80 from Sacramento over to Reno, through the Red Forest through there. I've had a few deliveries out in that area. Beautiful, beautiful areas. I don't like driving in California because the whole 50 mile an hour thing really, or is it 50? 50 or 55, I don't remember. But that sucks. And then California also loves their scale housing. It's literally some kid sneezed on a map and they're like, oh, perfect. We'll put a scale house everywhere where that kid just sneezed. And then on top of that, the way that they planned out a lot of the roads is just some kid scribbling, and then they built a whole bunch of roads. Uh, California just, I don't know, their road system and the amount of scale houses they have. God, driving through there can be really, it can suck. Texas freeways are not that confusing. Um, Texas freeways, you pretty much only have a few that are actually quite major. Um, and with only knowing a few of those Texas highways, you can pretty much get anywhere you want. But then again, I did grow up in Texas all my life. So, Texas to me is pretty straightforward and simple. Um, so, yeah, maybe that's why. Um, Now, I might agree and say Dallas Fort Worth road system could be a little confusing. Um, but even then, to me, it's not that confusing. But I grew up in Dallas Fort Worth, and I repoed cars in Dallas Fort Worth. I have a question. Would you guys be interested in seeing like stories about when I was repoing cars? Because seriously, I got some hilarious stories from when I did repo. I repoed like 1,000 some odd cars during my career as a repo driver, and some of them are actually downright hilarious. So if that is something you guys would be interested in, let me know down below, and I can do. Okay, it seems like three of you guys are interested in that. So I might do some recording of those, maybe when I'm driving or something. Drive along video. I could talk about one of those. Uh, I don't know, but some of those stories, some of my students they laugh. They laugh. Some of them are actually quite hilarious. Driving a black. Okay, so aggressive drivers in semi trucks. Okay, here's the thing. I don't care if I have a driver that's sitting on the right side or the left side of me, or directly behind me. Do I recommend you doing that? No. But the thing that really agitates me about, I would say, bad drivers, and this happens in traffic a lot, unfortunately, and it's one of those things when you're a commercial driver, you have to expect a car doing it and plan for a car doing it and just plan ahead. You're leaving so much space in front of you that if something occurred, you have enough time to stop. Um, but cars will actually cut in front of you and take up all that space. Cars don't realize sometimes when we're pulling a drive-in or something, they might think we're empty. But I mean, there's been times where I was like 79 plus thousand pounds, like right up that 80,000 pound mark. And people just don't get that. So, especially in traffic or like a red light stop sign, please don't cut in front of a truck. If you want to try to get in front of a truck at a red light, honestly, just stay in where the hell lane you're in and wait until the light goes green. We can't like rocket off that light anyway. So, you can stay in the left lane or in the right lane, and then when the light goes green, there's more than enough time for you to get in front of us and go as fast as you want. But don't jump in front of us as we're trying to slow our trucks down to a safe, controlled stop at that light. Another thing that's actually quite dangerous for if a driver does that to us, either on the highway or at a stop sign, red light, or something like that. If we have to slam on our brakes, a car behind us might not be paying attention, especially coming up to like a red light. They might be on their phone, they might be drinking something or something along those routes. And we have to abruptly come to a stop because some idiot decided to cut in front of us. Well, now we have a car that runs up underneath our trailer, and that bumper on some cars is actually still too high, and that car will go right under, and people can get seriously injured, if not die from that. So please, 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 please do not cut in front of a semi truck. Another thing to take note, a gallon of diesel is approximately 7 pounds. On my 2019 KW that Swift gives me, It has 200-gallon tanks. It has 200 gallons of diesel on it. That's 1,400 pounds of just diesel, okay? Or 700 pounds if you hit the driver's side, or 700 pounds on the right side if you hit the right side of that truck. 700 pounds of diesel each side. That's a lot of freaking diesel, guys. And then if your car catches on fire and you got 700 pounds, or God forbid 1,400 pounds of diesel, it's going to get pretty hot pretty quick. So don't cut in front of us, okay? That's the biggest thing. And if you're a truck driver, or you're looking to become a truck driver, you honestly have to think about every fool who wants to cut in front of you. So if you need, for instance, 20 feet to come to a safe, controlled stop, you need to make sure you have at least 30 feet in front of you for that one car that's going to cut you off, okay? You have to overestimate. And then in some circumstances, especially in traffic on the highway, you need to actually keep too little space sometimes than too much, because if you have too much, a car will actually cut in front of you, and then will leave you way too little, and you're more likely to actually run into them. So it's a balancing act where you want to have enough space, but not too much or too little, so that way a car is less likely to try to cut in front of you, which would cause you to have a severe accident. And yeah, it's one of those things. There's not like in the Texas DOT handbook, and I can only talk about Texas because that's the book I read, and they say you must be blah 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 feet apart from this vehicle and that vehicle. I love it when attorneys write books and they have no idea what the hell they're talking about, because they don't know what actually happens in the real world, and they're just sitting there reading. So it's one of those things, you really have to know what you're doing and keeping the correct amount of space. And that's one of the huge things you need to take away when you're with your mentor or a trainer for any company. Learning how much space you should really have in front of you, and when you should actually increase that space or decrease that space, and like the finer points of that. It's not very easy to explain, because it's not like a 1-hour class or a 20-minute deal. Every scenario is different, and you just have to figure it out. The forward-facing cameras are huge. They can either prove that you've made a big mistake, or it's not your mistake. And then the other thing that I will say about aggressive drivers is, and if I could sit here and just tell car drivers the biggest mistake you make on the road that's dangerous is this, okay? When a truck is in the right lane on the highway, all the way to the right, and then there's an on-ramp, okay? We will not slow down. We will not. We cannot slow down. Well, we could, but here's the reason why I say we will not. A on-ramp is every mile. If we constantly hit our brakes every mile, okay, our brakes are going to get hot. If our brakes are hot because we are hitting them every mile, okay, we're not going to be able to come to a stop. Or we're going to have what's called brake fade. We're not going to have that braking power. And then if we also hit our brakes for that car that's on the on-ramp, they're going to mosey on over, and they're going to cut us off, and they're going to get right in front of our bumper, which increases a accident 20 times. If a car gets right up on top of our bumpers, and they don't find that skinny pedal to know how to go that way, okay? So I teach my students, don't slow down. Don't speed up, but maintain the exact same speed. So when you're merging onto the highway, if you're merging It is your responsibility to merge onto the highway. That truck driver or that car does not have to merge with you. Okay. Uh, a vehicle on the left of any lane, okay, if it's on the left side, that vehicle has the right of way. So if you're getting onto the highway, you either have to do one of two things: find that skinny pedal, drive a lot faster, and get in front of the truck and make sure you have space there, right? Or you have to slow down and get in behind that tractor. Honestly, getting behind the tractor is the safest thing to do. But if you have the space, then go ahead and get in front of us. We don't care. Okay, we just don't want you cutting us off at the bumper. So I say, try to keep 2 or 3 car lengths. Get in front of us or just get in behind us. Honestly, okay. Just remember, on the driver's side or on the passenger side, there's at least 700 pounds of fuel. And some of these OTR trucks, they might actually carry 300 or 400 gallons of fuel. So it could be actually 2,800 pounds of fuel or 1,400 pounds of fuel on one side. Just depends on the truck. So that's a lot of fuel. You don't want to hit that step. You don't want to hit that tank. You got to be responsible for your own driving, right? So if I could tell a car, that's the most important thing, I would sit there and tell them right off the bat: learn how to merge onto the highway, and don't cut off a tractor trailer, and how much fuel we have on each side. You'd be surprised when I try to tell somebody that doesn't drive a truck that we have 1,400 pounds of fuel and it weighs more than some of these cars out on the road. They're like, "Oh my God, that sounds like a lot of fuel. Why do you carry around that much fuel?" Well, it might have something to do that we get maybe 5 miles to a gallon, at max 7, 8 to a gallon. So we kind of have to have a lot of fuel to actually do our job. So, I mean, there's that. But yeah, that would be the biggest thing I wish four-wheelers would know. I honestly think that should be in the driving school or in the, getting your, just getting your car license. You should know, like, how much weight that a semi-truck has. We're 80,000 pounds, how long it takes us to stop, how much fuel we have on board. Or the fact that my front steer tires, the 2 front steer tires, is 10,000 pounds. Just the front steer tires. We're not even counting all the other tires. Just the 2 little front steer tires. Each one has 5,000 pounds on it. That's more than your car. And one tire is the weight of your freaking car. You hit that tire, it's not going to be pretty for your car. God forbid if you hit 700 pounds of fuel sitting right behind that thing. It doesn't work. So, yeah, there's that. Sorry, a little bit of a rant there, but I've had so many cars almost hit my truck because they're not paying attention and they don't know how to merge onto a highway. It's kind of annoying. Anyway. I mean, if a vehicle is absolutely about to hit me, I will slow down and I will try to avoid an accident, but I'm not going to slam my brakes. And this is what I tell my students: try to avoid an accident, but you absolutely cannot swerve or slam your brakes. Here's the reason why. If we swerve to avoid the person who doesn't know how to merge, we swerve, there could be a car that we didn't see or a motorcycle or somebody we can't see at all, and we just ran them over. Okay. And that person is completely innocent. They couldn't see what was happening on our right side. We just, swerved out of freaking nowhere, to their knowledge, right? And we can kill somebody that's completely innocent. So you can't swerve in a semi-truck. You have a 53-foot freaking trailer behind you that's just going to be like, well, wiggle woggle all down the damn road like a damn fish on, dry ground, on the ground. It doesn't work that well. And then we can't slam our brakes because, again, there could be a car right behind us or a motorcycle driver. I'm not going to injure somebody because you don't know how to get onto the highway. So I will try to avoid a accident from occurring, but if there is going to be an accident and there's nothing I can do, because frankly, I already said you can't swerve, and you can't slam your brakes. As I tell my students, safe, controlled braking. Safe, controlled braking. Not slamming. Safe, controlled braking. That's the most important thing. We can't slam our brakes. We could have cargo that could shift, that could cause the truck to roll, which could cause injury to other people. It can cause the truck to, jam to the left or jam to the right, which can hurt people. It can cause a whole lot of problems. You can't slam brakes in a semi-truck. So safe, controlled braking. So yeah, if an accident's going to occur, it's 100% on the guy's fault or female that doesn't know how to merge onto a highway, or slams dead in front of us and wants to hit the brakes. Okay, again, I am not about to slam my brakes. Safe, controlled braking. I have a front-facing camera that can see over your car. If you want to get in front of my tractor and brake check me, I will slow down. I will try to get, space in front of me. I will let you get 600 miles in front of me. I want you away from me. I don't want you nowhere near me. But if you slam your brakes to the point that a safe, controlled braking cannot avoid an accident, I'm sorry, but my truck is going to hit your car. It's actually more of your car is going to hit my truck. And I have people that do that. They road rage against me because I'm not going 80 miles an hour in a semi truck. Okay, we don't go that fast. Even if I was allowed to go 80 miles an hour, I wouldn't. The fastest I would go would probably be 70, 75 miles an hour. And that would be like in the middle of a desert when there's not a lot of vehicles around me. Because a tractor trailer does take a lot of time to stop. And the faster you're going, the more your brakes are going to heat up, the quicker brake fade is going to be an issue. And you're going to lose control a lot quicker and sooner. So, anyway, yeah, Bill, cars weigh less than 5,000, but even if you had a 5,000-pound car or a 6,000-pound car, my one front steer tire is holding up 5,000 pounds. And then there's 700 pounds of fuel right behind that sucker. Okay? Your car is going to get a really, really big dent. At minimum. Okay? It's your car is going to have a big dent. Now, the one thing for those that are looking to drive a truck, I tell my students, this is also kind of important. Yeah. Too many people play chicken with a big truck and don't realize that you're playing a game. The truck driver is not playing any game. We're playing the game of life and death. And unfortunately, you just entered that game. You didn't even realize that you're playing a game of life and death. You think you're playing chicken and you're actually playing with your life. And we're trying to prevent you from taking your own life half the time. Anyway, so the other vehicle as a truck driver, you have to really pay attention for is like Penske, U-Haul, any of those rent-a-box trucks. Okay, I have a Class C license. I'm a regular car driver. I'm going to go rent the biggest box truck I can that's 26 foot long, and I'm going to overload it. I'm going to load it up with as much stuff as I can, not knowing actually how much weight I actually put in it. And then I'm going to drive down the road tired after trying to move all day. I got the vehicle way overloaded. And then on top of that, you put a trailer hauling a car. And you have no idea what you're doing. those vehicles, they scare me. Okay. If it says U-Haul or Penske, it's simple. I stay away because you could really screw my day up. Because instead of you being in a little 5,000 pound car hitting me, you can really hit me. And I don't know how long you've been awake because you don't have to follow DOT. So you could have been driving for like 10 hours, packed your house 10 hours ago, and you're falling asleep while driving down the road, which I've seen just that happen. No, trust me. If you're driving on the left side of me and you're in a U-Haul, please don't be offended when I slow down. I'll let you get in front of me, and I'm going to let you get way ahead of me. I will slow down for you. Trust me. You can get in front of me. You're good. Don't be offended. You're not going to drive next to me. And I told my students the same thing. You're not going to drive next to me. And then the other ones that kind of scare me too are the guys pulling like the huge campers. Now the campers are not really all that heavy, but at the same time, if you're hauling ass and I see even a little wobble in that trailer, it means you don't know what you're doing. So, those RVs, those big RVs, if you see them going down the road, or the campers and they're pulling trailers and there's a wiggle in it, it means that they're going too fast. They don't realize how close they are to losing control of that vehicle. What am I talking about? So this being the trailer, okay? So there's a truck right here at the pivot point, mostly with bumper pulls, okay? Not so much fifth wheels or kingpins, but it can happen with those too. But if you see that rear trailer like doing like this kind of thing and it's like wobbling a little bit, they're actually about to lose control. They don't realize it yet. What's happening is that it's basically wobbling. Okay, I don't remember what the correct term is, but you could say fishtailing. And this could actually end up getting so drastic. You could see videos of this, that the truck will actually end up losing control and then the truck and trailer crash. Okay, and yeah, that's not good. So you really want to pay attention to like the large RVs. Are they sitting on the line or are they pulling a trailer? Is that trailer wobbling all over the place? Or is that camper wobbling all over the place behind that truck? Or is that SUV hauling a big ass camper that it shouldn't be hauling? I don't get that one either. Okay, a SUV is not meant to be hauling a 28-foot camper. No, don't do it. Please don't do that. So yeah, pay attention to those. Hot shots, Jack. A hot shot really doesn't bother me that much. Reason being, if you're running placards and all that stuff and yada yada yada, then being a hot shot driver, you're licensed, okay? And you probably have experience pulling big trailers. You probably actually drove semi-trucks before. So hot shot drivers, legit hot shot drivers, don't scare me. It's the ones that don't know what they're doing that scare me, okay? Or construction workers. Sometimes those construction workers, they will overload a trailer way too much. And I don't like that. So those are things you want to pay attention to. Or like if you're going through a town and that truck that's stacked way too high and they used a whole bunch of like jute string to tie like that one chair like on the very top and it's just kind of like flopping in the wind. Yeah, you want to watch for that too. The last thing you want is something that falls off, bounces up, goes through your windshield, or various different things could go wrong with that. Just those are all different things you want to pay attention to when you're actually driving. So Bill, I'm actually a hand radio operator. My call sign is Kilo Golf 5 Kilo Bravo Quebec. You are not allowed to be running a amp with a CB radio. A CB radio is only allowed, I think it's 4 watts. It's either 4 or 8 watts. Don't crucify me. I don't remember how much wattage is actually legally allowed. So no, you're not supposed to be running that 500 watt amp. It's not legal. That's not legal. Now, is there a bunch of drivers out there that are doing just that? You know, driving around with a 500 watt or 1,000 watt, amplifier for their CB and have been doing it for the last 10 plus freaking years and never got in trouble? Yeah. But is it legal? No. Honestly, run a CB, but if you want something better, get your ham radio license and run it like a 10 meter, okay, or a 70 and a 2 meter radio or whatever. I actually have a little 2 meter, 70 centimeter radio for local, a little HT, a little handheld. I'm going to start carrying that in my work truck. So, hey, if you're a ham radio operator and you see me, kind of rolling through, you could reach out to me on my ham radio. I'd like to put a ham radio in the truck, do a base station install, but I don't know if I will get around to doing that. Okay, so yeah, I knew it was either 4 or 8 watts. I knew it was something like that. And a little bit of information, a CB actually stands for Citizen Band Radio. So that's actually what CB stands for. Now, CB is not used a whole lot, but during traffic, severe weather, and Texas and the East Coast, CB is actually used a lot. A little bit on the West Coast, not so much, but up on the East Coast, a lot of the local guys use it. Also, Chicago uses CB quite a bit too, I've noticed, along with St. Louis. But a CB can also be useful for when you're at a shipper. A lot of shippers still use CB, so they'll have you go to like channel 4, 10, or who knows what channel. 23 is also used quite a bit. And so you could actually call in, check. They'll let you know if your paper is ready or whatever. So a CB can be quite useful to have, especially in bad weather. Like when I was OTR in the snow belt and the roads were all snowed over, I was able to use a CB to get road checks to find out, the conditions of the highway to figure out, hey, do I want to sit parked or do I want to get moving? So CB is useful for that. Well, thank you, Michael. I'm glad that you enjoy my channel. I try to, have really good information about trucking. I would love to start doing different content. It's just a matter of doing it, really. I've been a little bit on the lazy side. I've had a lot of life things that popped up in the last several weeks that was more than just my foot and toilet paper. So yeah, I've been a little MIA. So sorry about that. Bill, I don't use the police radars or locator apps or anything like that. Honestly, it's simple. Don't break the law. Follow the speed limit. If you're doing 5 miles and over, no one's really going to bother you. But I mean, who knows? But if you're doing the speed limit, you're doing everything you should, and you're not like being a super trucker, you don't need the radar. And then in some states, it's actually illegal to run the radar anyway in a commercial vehicle. I think that's actually quite a few states. Now, as a side note, if you're a ham radio operator and you just so happen to have a CB radio, not a CB, a ham radio in your truck that could tune into those frequencies, and you were running something like a band analyzer, that's legal because that's not a radar detector. You're simply detecting the radio signals from the police cars, which is actually far more accurate, by the way, especially if you want to get fancy and you're running 2 antennas, either on the front and the back of the vehicle or, far left, far right side. you could actually triangulate to a point where the police are and everything else. That's actually getting into more of doing like a fox hunt, where you're analyzing the signal and Doppler shift and yada, 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 yada. I could actually go into that a little bit, but I'm not a professional. Mind you, I'm only a technician. I'm not an extra or general radio tech, but there's actually a lot of really cool things you can do with radio. Um, but if you're not a radio operator, running the radar scanners is illegal in most states unless you're a ham radio, because then that falls underneath the 92 FCC guidelines, which allows you to bypass a lot of those different things. So there's that. Anyway, well, Michael, Swift is a good company. Sometimes it has like that really big company feel that can be agitating, because you might have to talk to this person and then this person and that person, or you have to wait around until this one person answers the phone, and it can be difficult. That can happen. Okay, it is a large company, but it also has like a small company feel. Um, Especially if you're doing like a dedicated account, I only have to deal with the people at my terminal, and they handle almost everything except when I got hurt, right? I had to call Phoenix for that. Other than that, anything that happens, I just have to call, my terminal right here in Temple, Texas, people that I see and talk to every day. Well, not in the last 3 months, but generally every day. So they can take care of most, if not every single one of my problems. And then when you're OTR, you're going to talk to the same terminal all the time. So you're going to have the same driver manager, driver leader, and so you're going to build a rapport with those people. So then they kind of have like that small company feel sometimes, but you have the benefits of a big company in the sense that if your truck needs repair or something's going wrong, there's a lot of money behind you to get your truck fixed, or get you moving again. So, I mean, there's pros and cons. But my honest opinion about Swift is good. If you go back to my really, really early videos with Swift, I hated Swift. Um, Swift actually kind of screwed me, and it it actually really wasn't Swift. I just got a whole lot of really crappy trucks, is what it was. Um, but I actually put that more on the drivers. The drivers didn't take care of the trucks, and they didn't report that anything was wrong with those trucks. And so when I got them, they were a piece of crap. Um, I went through like 5 different trucks before I finally got a truck that worked. It was kind of annoying. I might do like a review video, of when I joined Swift up to like 2 years or whatever. I don't know. Just kind of like talking about that. But I also was going to quit Swift after, like after like a month of me working here. But I ended up sticking it out, and I'm really happy that I did. I changed driver managers, and that was the biggest thing. If you get a driver manager that is really crappy, your time at Swift is going to suck. But if you and your driver manager are not like working together, seriously, talk to your driver manager, not driver manager, talk to your driver leader, or go to a different terminal and switch to a different terminal. That can change everything. If you have a good relationship, a good working relationship with your driver manager, your time at Swift will be fantastic. So sometimes that's important. So Jack, you were asking about my mother. So my mother is actually visiting me. She's here at the house, at my apartment right now. Her health is not great. Okay. Um, she might actually have to be going to the hospital here in a few days. She's not feeling well. I'm hoping that it's not anything major, but she has to go see a nurse here soon. So the nurse will be doing a full workup, and they're going to be checking her blood. So hopefully it's nothing. But she is on TPN, total nutrition replacement is what TP, total placement nutrition, something. Anyway, she's on TPN, and there's a lot to it, okay? But I'll keep you guys updated. I might do a video with her tomorrow and upload that. I don't know. Just kind of stay tuned on that. Thank you for asking, though. I really do appreciate that. And Bill, nothing to say sorry. These live videos, they're here for you guys to ask questions. So if you have a question, ask me. I have no problem. So keep those questions coming. I am at an hour in on this video. And so I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on video. I generally do an hour-long videos, but if I'm live, ask questions. Love the questions. So yeah, that's that. Yeah, Jack, I hope so too. But my mother has a long road of recovery. The TPN is helping, and it's done a lot. But with the TPN, there's a lot of side effects and things that occur. So sometimes it's like taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, and then sometimes you get further ahead than back, and it's kind of like a week by week basis. So yeah. I actually have no idea about my truck. So since I've been out of work for 3 months as of today, I know that another driver has been driving it because, Switz is not going to allow a truck just to sit around for 3 months mothballed waiting for me. I'm a company driver, not an owner-op. I don't remember who was driving it, but somebody that I do semi-know. So hopefully he's been taking care of the truck. When I do get back to work, I'll probably take 1 day off after I get the truck to clean it. If not, I'll just clean it while I'm on the road. I don't know. It just kind of depends on how dirty it is. I can be a little bit of a clean freak, especially with the truck, just because you have to spend so much time in it. But yeah, so when I get the truck back, there'll be a whole video. I'll do a video on that. And I'll also have to do like a really thorough pre-trip on it because it's been a long time since I've seen it. So I'll have to check the logbook. I would have to check every component and do a top to bottom sweep of the truck. It's not like it's just been sitting over the weekend. So, I gotta, check a lot of things. And actually, let's talk about pre-trip. So since there's quite a few people in here right now that watch my channel that are relatively new or thinking about going to truck driving. So when you're driving the same truck all the time, you may not check every little thing on that truck every day. Okay? That's just not practical. Okay? So you're going to check the things that will fail the most often. And you're going to check those things a lot. And then you're going to check the whole truck or a section of the truck every so many days, okay? But if you've been away from the truck for any period of time, say, 3 months, or you're getting a truck for the very first time, and it's the first time you're seeing that truck, you really need to slow down, and that pre-trip is going to be super thorough. You really want to check every little thing about that truck. So yeah. So when I get that truck, I'll be doing that. And then there's also the brake chamber trick that I want to show you guys. Where it allows you to do one person to check the brake chamber rod distance without having to have someone push on the brake so you can measure each and every single one, because that's not going to be very practical. There's a easier way of doing it. I just never got around to doing that video, and when I was driving, I was just trying to drive a lot, especially with students and everything else. So I will be doing that and bringing that information to you guys. So, yeah. Hopefully that will all be starting next week. I got to see what the orthopedic doctor is going to say about my foot. Uh, yeah, the CDL school there in Phoenix, if you're talking about the Swift school at the main terminal, that's actually a really good school from what I've heard. Mind you, I didn't go through any trucking school, so I'm only going off of what people have told me. But I will say this: if you're at that Phoenix terminal for Swift, there's this Jake Break restaurant that Swift runs. I think it's actually run by a third party, but anyway, it's on the campus. And dude, they have a killer chicken sandwich there. It's like a full chicken breast, and they put cheese. They'll throw some mushrooms on it if you want some mushrooms. They'll throw some grilled onions on it if you want some grilled onions on it. That chicken sandwich, I'm telling you, it's damn freaking good. Um, and if I remember correct, I think it's like $6, $6 or $7. It's cheap. So highly recommend that chicken sandwich. I actually want a chicken sandwich now.
Me too.
My mom wants a chicken sandwich. Chicken sandwich actually sounds really good. Unfortunately,
With onions and mushroom.
hell yeah. Onions, mushrooms, Swiss cheese, the whole 9 yards. That would be really good. Actually, you know what? Let me take a few second break. I'm thirsty. Let me grab a Dr. Pepper, the drink of Texas. Alrighty, I'm back. Oh, Sacramento, California. That's a interesting town. I've been there. Um, Actually, I've been all through California. It's beautiful there, but I just don't like all the traffic and the 55-mile-an-hour roads and the roads that just like squiggle all over the place like a kid's drawing, and for the fact that there's like a million different scale houses. God, I'm actually complaining a lot about California, but they got some pretty sights. You know, the yeah, I would get my mom a chicken sandwich. It's just that the place is closed. There's this really good restaurant that's here in Temple. It's called Hat Creek. They actually have a really killer chicken sandwich. So if you're coming through Temple, Texas, or you know somewhere where there's a restaurant called Hat Creek, check it out. It's actually pretty good. They also have really good burgers too. Um, yeah, so recommend that. Dr. Pepper, super refreshing. Yeah, I'm not paid. I don't get paid sponsor, but Dr. Pepper, if you are watching this video, highly doubt it. I wouldn't mind if you sent me Dr. Pepper. I love Dr. Pepper too much. It is seriously the best drink out there. Dr. Pepper. Sorry, I'm a little silly, guys. If you've been watching for my channel for any real length of time, you'll know that I'm relatively sarcastic, hilarious, or at least I think I'm hilarious. Like, for instance, when I was younger, I actually wanted to be a comedian, but my mama said I couldn't live at home for the rest of my life. So I actually had to go and get a job, a real job, not be a comedian. Um, that's hopefully someone gets that joke. Share a story about a lot lizard. You know what? I actually haven't had a lot lizard come to my truck. Um, Now I've had beggars come to my truck. Um, and if they tell me that they're hungry, I carry canned food on my truck. And so I will give them canned food, tuna fish, canned chicken, whatever, canned sealed food. If you're asking for money, chances are I'm not going to give you money. If you're asking for food, I will feed you. Okay? I don't want someone going hungry. Well, thank you. Uh, Thank you for saying I'm funny. I appreciate that. But the funniest story, truck stop story, of where I'm at a truck stop, I had this guy knock on my door. I kind of wish it was a lot lizard, but it wasn't. But this guy, seriously, I'm telling you, he smelled like he was in a dumpster for a week or longer. But he came up to my door, knocked on it, hard, like police officer hard. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I sit in the seat, move the curtain, and roll down my window, and I see this guy out there. And he's like, hey man, I'm a Swift driver, and my truck broke down. I don't have any money for food. Can you give me some money for food? I was like, well, no, I don't have any money, but I'll give you some canned food and whatnot for you. And he's like, nah, I don't want canned food. What am I going to do with that? I need some money. I need some money. Dude, you said you were hungry. Honestly, if you're hungry, you'll eat anything. If I'm hungry, if somebody gave me a horse, I don't know about you, but I'm going to be grilling me some horse shish kebabs. I'll eat that sucker. I ain't picky. I was hungry once and somebody put a damn goat in front of me. Goat's actually pretty good. I ate that thing. It was goat curry, first time I had goat. And I ate every bit of it. Then again, I was hungry, so that's me. If you're hungry, you're going to eat what somebody gives you, right? And this guy didn't want canned food, he wanted money. But he was a Swift truck driver. Here's what's funny. I said no to him. He went right to the next truck to me, right? And told him that he was a Warner driver. And his truck just broke and he was asking for money. So when he was at my truck, he was a Swift driver, but then he was a Warner driver. Anyway, it gets hilarious because I park at another truck stop, like 30 miles away. Waiting for my trailer to get loaded. It was like 20, 30 miles away. I don't remember, but it's not that far, okay? And I'm in the back, I'm on the computer, and I hear a knock at my truck. And I go up to the front, and it's the same guy. He's at this truck stop now, and he's like, hey man, my truck just broke the other day, and they're saying it's going to be down for a week, and I'm trying to get a shower and some money. I seriously look at this guy, I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, you were saying that your truck broke the other day, and now you're sitting here telling me that your truck broke again the other day, and you're 30 mile. No. It's just kind of frustrating, honestly. If you were like, hey, can I polish your wheels? Can I wash your windows? Something, I'll give you food. I might even throw you $5. But don't tell me a bullshit story. I wasn't born yesterday. I was born 30 some odd years ago. I wasn't born yesterday. So yeah, Michael, goat is really freaking good. I like goat. I've had goat in Jamaican food. I've had goat in Indian food. And I had goat in something else. I don't know what that would have been. One of my students made it though. He was from Africa, but I can't remember what part of Africa. But he went home and he came back and he brought some goat with it had like some rice, some chickpeas and stuff. It was really, really good. And if you're watching this, let me know what that was. It was good. Thank you. Appreciate that. But okay, so Bill, if your DUIs were 11 years ago, you might be able to go back to driving. I don't know. I think trucking companies, they're saying like 5 or 6 years. So if your last one was 11 years ago, you might be able to go back to driving. I don't know. Um, oh, kind of going backwards a little bit. So you guys want to know a lot lizard, story? This is not really a lot lizard story, but it's actually kind of funny. So with some of my students, if I know that they don't watch my YouTube channel and they know that I like to play practical jokes, I like to tell them when they go solo and they're at their first run and they get into a truck stop, to flash their headlights, because it lets everybody know that hey, they're a new truck driver, and they're excited to be in the new industry, right? Some kind of bullshit story like that. And so they actually think that they're supposed to flash their headlights, their high beams at a truck stop. Now, I do eventually tell them don't do that, and what it actually means. But damn, my nose is a little itchy. I've actually really got some of my students on that because they're like, "Oh, that's really interesting. So that's why some truck stops do that." I'm like, "Yeah, that's a new driver." It's kind of funny, but I've never allowed a student to get off my truck actually believing that. I will tell them the truth. Don't do that because that's how you get a knock on the door. So yeah, it's kind of funny. Like I've also sent a student to go get some air brake lube, because I told him that the air brakes felt a little sticky, and so we had to get some lube to loosen them up. So he went into the shop and he asked the shop for some air brake lube. Um, it was kind of that was funny because when he came back, he was not that happy. He was embarrassed, but it was like the next day or so, he was laughing about it. He thought it was hilarious. And then I also had another student that I got on how to adjust the tandems. Okay. This is one of my favorite student ones. So I had this one student, I can't remember his name, but if I did, I wouldn't even say it. I'm not even gonna tell you what he looked like. But he was on my YouTube channel, guys. He was somebody that was recorded on my channel. But let me set the scene for you. So we're at a truck stop, okay? Truck stop. And we have to slide the tandems. And this kid doesn't know how to slide tandems. Not a clue. No clue. Never looked up anything about truck driving before he went into it. So he literally just went to school and then came on my truck and he had to learn how to do everything. So I had some fun. So I tell him, all right, so what we have to do is pull the tractor brakes, but leave the trailer brakes pushed in, and to grab his gloves. So we're at a truck stop. We're at a truck stop. We walk to the back, and I show him the handle. You pull the handle out, you lock it in place, right? And so he has his gloves on, and I'm like, all right, this is the part that every truck driver hates. You have to grab onto that rear trailer tire, and you have to try to rotate it, and we got to move the tandems to the back of the trailer some. So he was like, man, really? I'm like, yeah, that's why all the truck drivers hate doing it, because it's hard work. You got to grab that tire, and you got to move it back. Y'all, I tried to not laugh my ass off. And I'm sitting there, this kid grabs this tire, and he's trying to move it, like legitly move this tire. I'm just sitting there thinking, every other truck driver at that truck stop during the day, they're looking at me like, oh my God, there's two Swift drivers trying to slide the tandems. And I can imagine that somebody was sitting there recording it, just going like, oh my God, look at these two idiots. They don't know how to slide a tandem. They're out there trying to do it by hand. There's this kid, he's grabbing the Oh God, dude. He legitimately tried to do it. I actually have to give him major credit for that. And so after he was like heeing and hawing on this thing, right? He was like, man, it's not working. So he actually gets up underneath the trailer and he goes to put his back on the tire to like push back on this tire to try to make it move. And I'm like, dude, don't, stop. The last thing I wanted to happen is him to get hurt. And then me trying to explain to Swift how got hurt trying to move a tire. How to slide the tandems. Oh God. When I told him actually how to do it, he just he was actually pissed off at me for like the rest of that day. Like legitly, he was upset. I think it was actually more of just sheer embarrassment or something. I don't know. But the very next day, he was talking to some of his buddies that he was going to truck driving school with, and they're with their mentors and stuff. And he's like, man, this is what my mentor did to me. And so he's telling him the story and he's laughing about it. And we joked about it. And everything was all good and whatnot. But that first day, he was just like, really, dude? Oh, it was it, totally worth it. It was freaking hilarious. Okay. I'm trying to let you guys know how funny it truly was. But unless you were there and you saw two Swift drivers standing outside at the back of a trailer and a guy with his hands on the tire trying to turn the tire with his hands. Honestly, that was the best thing I've ever gotten on a student. The air brake lube, that was good, but I want to try to get a student and get it on camera of trying to rotate that tire. Um, I I don't think that that will ever work because most students actually have an idea how some of it works, but it was just so perfect. Even more so that it was a Swift truck and trailer. I mean, I it was a joke on so many levels. Everybody at the truck stop and on him, I was the only one that actually knew it wasn't a joke. Or that it was a joke and I was the mastermind of it. It was perfect. To be a mentor at Swift, I think it is now you have to be 1 year plus worth of experience. But to be a mentor, you have to have 100% on-time delivery. You have to be, excuse me, zero accidents. I mean, there's a huge criteria list. Okay, honestly, I went mentor really early in my trucking career, but that's because I had extensive previous experience, mind you, non-commercial. But I did the farm work. I also did repo, driving, larger trucks and whatnot. And then, I've driven semi trucks in the farm world, along with large box trucks and 40-foot, tow behinds on, pickup trucks and everything else. Being a country boy, you pretty much learn how to move a little bit of everything. And if you break it, you fix it. So I knew how to drive a truck and trailer very well. And that's why I didn't go through a trucking school. I literally went down to DMV, took the test, and I rented a truck for, I think I paid like $500 and took my test. That was it. No trucking school for me. So that's how I got my license. Yes, there is a safe driver incentive. If you go platinum and you don't have any accidents, you do 2,200 miles a week, and you basically do what your job is, you know, get where you're supposed to be on time, don't have an accident, and do 2,200 miles a week. It's not that hard, honestly. It's really easy to go platinum. You get an extra 5 cents for every mile you drove. So if you're getting 40 cents a mile, you'll get 45 cents for every mile you did total. So honestly, going platinum is not hard. Do your job. That's it. Switch just wants you to do your job. Don't have an accident. Get out and look. Make sure you don't back into things. I tell my students, if you're backing up and you get into an accident, it's 100% your fault. All backing accidents are 100% avoidable. And I also tell my students, the first mile and the last mile is the most dangerous mile that you'll drive. And what is the most dangerous mile, at an accident? It's a mile before that accident. So if you get into an accident, the whole mile you drove before that accident, no matter how major or how small, that was the most dangerous mile because you were either tired, not paying attention, you made mistakes. And generally, you don't have one huge mistake. It's a bunch of little mistakes that become a big mistake. All you have to do is stop one of those smaller mistakes. I'll actually have a whole video coming out talking about just that when I get back into a truck. So stay tuned for that one. I hate saying that sometimes because I forget some of these videos. I really should write them down. But yeah. Almost all Swift trucks are automatics, and so they're fairly easy to drive. But you do have the manual option with the automatics. And personally, automatic, manual, you're paid the exact same per mile. So why blow out your knees shifting in traffic all the time when you could just drive an automatic and not have to shift? You're paid the same. So give me the automatic. Repo for 18 months. I feel you. I did it for a long time myself. I don't remember how many months I did it, but I've repoed a little over 1,000 some odd cars. I have a lot of repo tricks, but I will not share repo tricks or how we do some things. But I will, or I would love to talk about stories that have occurred where I'm not giving out, so to speak, industry secrets. Just because, for the people that are still out there trying to do that work, I don't want, those tricks being known and then not usable or not working as well. Yeah, even though you can float gears, honestly, I could drive with this Dr. Pepper in my hand, this hand on the steering wheel, sitting back in my chair like this, in traffic all day. Just chilling. No upshifting, no downshifting. I just sit there. You know what? The automatics are pretty nice for me. I actually drive a 6-speed Dodge, so I can drive a standard. Like I said, I have a 6-speed Dodge. But, for working, I'm perfectly happy with my automatic. I go click into drive, and I simply drive. Now, there's some people out there that are like, oh, well, you're not a real truck driver because you drive an automatic. Well, I don't care about being a real truck driver. At least my left knee isn't going to be blown out. It's not going to get worn out. I don't have to upshift, downshift in traffic. I don't have to worry about, accidentally being in the wrong gear going downhill or all those other things. Frankly, all I do is go click. I'm in drive. I go straight. I go in reverse, and I go in reverse. It's really that simple. I don't care about being a, so to speak, real truck driver. and doing the whole argument of, oh my God, it's an automatic. You're not a real driver. Um, the automatics on hills are actually fantastic. I can go down like Cabbage Patch Hill, okay? Fully loaded Cabbage Patch. 80,000 pounds, fully loaded downhill. And I will not touch that brake, not even once. Not the service brake. I'll never touch the service brake. I can keep that truck at the same speed going downhill. Never touch service. And that's the way I teach my students. You don't need to use your service brakes a lot. And I teach them how to downshift, how to use engine brake, and use that for most of your braking power. For instance, when I'm coming off the highway, even here in Texas, okay, it's flat ground. So a tractor trailer can go for a long time. I will literally just, use engine braking and downshift to get off the highway and come up to a stop sign, and only use the service brakes for the last little bit of stopping. I don't use it to change my speed, to go from highway speed to the feeder speed. I don't need to. And I'll do some videos on that, but if you learn how to use that engine brake, you leave enough space in front of you, you're not going to have problems. So I truly, truly love the automatics versus the standard. Just it's a lot less work. Yeah, I can understand people that love shifting. I like to shift my standard pickup truck. But I don't love shifting 10 hours a day or having to worry about doing it for 10 hours a day. Frankly, I'm perfectly happy driving a standard truck as my personal vehicle. And then, if I was going to be a trainer, I would rather have an automatic as well. Because if I had a standard truck and I was a trainer and I owned that truck, students are going to burn up your clutch. They don't know how to shift. They don't know how to double clutch. And they sure as hell don't know how to float your gears. So they're going to grind them. Grind it until they find it. Or they're going to burn your clutch up, or they're going to shock load it because they don't know how to double clutch that correctly. So they're going to burn up your synchros. They're going to shock load that clutch one too many times, and you gotta have a massive failure and all this other wear and tear on your truck. Where with the automatics, you're removing all that wear and tear to where it's not going to be occurring. So again, I would drive an automatic truck if I was going to be a trainer and I owned the truck. I wouldn't drive an automatic. I mean, the standard. They don't exactly have something called a hill mode, but you could put it in manual mode, and then you could downshift it to any gear you want. And it will stay in that gear so you can go downhill. So it just does what it wants. Not what it wants, what you want. I'll show you guys how all that works when I get back to driving. Hopefully that'll be pretty soon. So yeah, I'll get that video out as soon as I can. And David, I know driving a standard versus an automatic doesn't make somebody a real truck driver or not, but that's the argument you hear sometimes at truck stops. They're like, oh, you're not a real truck driver because you work for Swift and you drive an automatic truck. I'm just like, yeah, okay, buddy. The name on the truck makes the driver, and yeah, whatever. Something like that, right? Yeah, teaching somebody how to drive a truck in a manual is definitely a nightmare. But you know what? A ton of people have learned how to do just that. They have to go through truck driving school, learn how to drive a manual and how to drive a truck. But it's still, honestly, the automatic trucks are fantastic. And it's actually a standard transmission that they're using, kind of. So on top of the transmission, there's an air shift assist type deal, okay? So it's a regular manual transmission underneath. It's just that there's a air clutch and an air shifter. So it's not like a automatic car where you have like, no, it's not like that. There's actual gears and all that other stuff. So it's a air assisted shifting transmission that's automatic. Um, so they're good transmissions. I think the warranty period on the KW is like 750,000 miles with the same clutch. You're not going to get that kind of mileage even on a manual truck, even if you know how to shift a manual truck. 750,000 miles on one clutch, that's the warranty period on those transmissions. That's phenomenal. Now, my KW did have a lot of transmission problems, but that's another story. That was in the control pack that sits on top of the transmission. It failed, and yeah, mechanical things fail. Just put it that way, right? Uh, got a little behind, guys. So let me. I'm trying to read. So shot. Oh, damn, Bill. Um, David Cherry, the engine brake is highly important. Bill, I actually have a repo thing, and the reason why I got out of it, I'll actually tell you guys that story here in just a second. James already talked about my foot. That was at the very beginning of this video, but in short, I'm off of workman's comp, but I'm going to see a orthopedic this Monday, and I'll do more of a just my foot update story later. I'll probably do that as a pre-record and then upload that. But you can get more of my foot at the very beginning of this 2 hour long video. Holy crap, someone is going to need to go through and like, put timestamps for me, so if you watch this whole video, if you don't mind saying, I like at this point it was this topic, and then at this point it was this topic, because this is going to be a 2 hour long video. Holy crap. I'm surprised there's a lot of you guys still watching. Appreciate it. Thumbs up. Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to going back to the road. It's been a while since I've been driving, and I really would like to get back out there and start driving. Yeah, the automatics, they don't shift like immediately. There's a little bit of a lag when you first start moving, but you could actually limit that lag by, holding onto the brake just a little bit and putting a little bit of gas in. It will kick in right away. That lag on some trucks is a little bit longer, and some trucks it's very, very short. But you could preload the transmission much like you would a standard truck to prevent a rollback scenario like on a hill or something like that. So you can treat it just like a standard transmission in that sense. Just load it up a little bit with a little bit of gas and roll off the brake, and the truck will go forward immediately. If you don't do that, then there's like on my KW, it's like a 1 millisecond, 2 millisecond, not millisecond, but 1 Mississippi and like another Mississippi and a half, and then it will start moving forward pretty quick. But there is a slight delay from when you get off the brake from a full stop to first gear. But it's really not a big deal. It's something you kind of get used to. So, as I was saying to Bill D, I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name. So here's the reason why I got out of repo. The last week I did repo. It was actually crazy. And if you look up my name in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you're going to find a couple police cases. When you're doing repo work, you're going to have a whole bunch of really happy customers. They're so happy to see you. Not really. But anyway, so my last week of repo, and the reason why I went to truck driving, I got ran over by this lady who didn't want to get repoed. So, and it actually happened at a fast food restaurant. It's actually kind of funny. So thankfully, when she hit me, I went up and over the hood of the car, not underneath it. It was actually an SUV too, so I could have went underneath it, and if I went underneath it, I guess I would be doing the redemption of a tube of toothpaste on the road, and I probably would not been on this video right now. But thankfully, I went up and over, so I ended up in the parking lot. She took off, and I had a bunch of scrapes and bruises, and I was bleeding a little bit. And everybody inside the restaurant was like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And blah blah blah. And somebody called the cops. And one of the restaurant people, they're like, "Do you need anything?" I'm like, "I'm hungry." So he's like, "Hey, what do you want?" And he brought me food. So I'm sitting there, I'm eating food as 911 shows up. I'm bleeding too. So I mean, I'm bleeding, I think, from the face, the arms. My hand is bleeding. I got a bad scrape on my leg, something like that. I don't remember everywhere I was bleeding, but they took like a gazillion pictures. So you can probably find those pictures if you really wanted them. But I'm sitting there as the police show up, the ambulance shows up, and I'm just eating my food because I was actually pretty hungry. So the cop actually thought that was actually quite hilarious, and he was like, "So I guess you're okay if you're eating." I'm like, "Well, I don't feel good, but yeah, I'm just scrapes, bruises, and minor cuts and whatnot." But they still had to call out the ambulance because I was hit by a car and yada yada yada. And and the lady hit the tow truck too. So she rammed the tow truck, and then she ran into me. So she really didn't want me there. Um, so yeah, that's the story on that one. And I can actually go into a lot more detail if you guys want. And then there was yes, the Freightliners do have that, but it doesn't always work, James. So you can't always rely that the hill assist will always work. So you're better off loading up the transmission yourself than allowing the hill assist to do it. And then the same week, and this is the reason why I got out of repo. I had to go a mill out of freaking nowhere to get this truck. And I'm going to tell you guys the really short story. So if you guys want the full story, let me know. But I'll do it on its own video. This video is already kind of really long. I see the little ticker going right here. But the short story of it was the guy's like 6'4", 6'5", 280 pounds, and I'm 5'10", and I was like 160 pounds then, wet. So I'm skinny, not like toothpick, but pretty skinny. Anyway, guy ends up trying to hit me with a hammer, a hook, and then he got a firearm, a handgun, and then speeding down the road, going 100 miles an hour, literally 100 miles an hour, down this big ass pothole mark, which caused my laptop to go everywhere. Soda's flying all over the fucking car and all over me. It's everywhere. I feel bad for the repo company that owned that truck because it was messed up. I mean, there's like ice and soda literally everywhere in this thing. Plus, what was left of my hamburger that I had, it was sitting there and like it was deconstructed. By the time that I was done driving, there was like pieces of hamburger everywhere. Anyway, I had to get another hamburger. And I swear that he shot at my truck. But he took my glasses off, so I couldn't see where I was driving. I had no idea where I was. I'm freaking out. I'm on the phone with 911. I believe you could find the 911 call if you want it. But I'm telling you, I was screaming and crying, probably like a baby, because dude, I'm telling you, I was fucking flipping out. I mean, you could hear the engine in the background just roaring of this tow truck as I'm hauling motherfucking ass. Driving without glasses, and the cops are asking me, "Where am I?" I'm like, "I don't know. I went straight." And they're like, "What's the name of the street that you're passing?" "I don't know." It was not cool. And then I found this farmer's fence. It was open, so I drove through and I went in between a tree and his house. Mind you, I couldn't see, and there was this bird feeder or a bird house. I don't know which one it was, but whatever it was, it got smashed and broken. The truck kind of went like right through it. And so then I'm behind his house with the guy's truck, still behind my tow truck, shockingly somehow. And the farmer didn't believe in firearms. So somehow, in Texas, middle freaking nowhere, I find the one farmer who doesn't believe in firearms. Anyway, the guy goes right past me. He doesn't see that I'm in this farmer's yard, thank God. And it took the cops, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 minutes before they got to where I was. And other cops got there. They found the guy, and there was a gun on him. They didn't tell me if he did in fact shoot it, or there was rounds missing or anything like that. But he did in fact have a gun. So he goes to jail. The cops find my glasses, and anyway, that was the last vehicle I repoed. I took that truck back to the yard. I didn't even take the truck off the tow truck. My boss was like, are you okay? I'm like, dude, I'm done. Here's the keys. I was like, I'm done. And he was like, please don't quit. Just come back to work tomorrow or take a week off and whatever. I was like, dude, I'm done. I'm done with this job. And I went to truck driving. So that's the short story. It gets actually quite even funnier than that, like a Billy Mays commercial. But wait, there's more. But like I said, I will do a whole video on that one if you guys want to hear that one, along with some of the other repo stories that I have, because like I said, some of them are absolutely freaking hilarious. And then there's some that are actually downright sad. And then I will say this one because I got disconnected there. I will say this story though, because it's actually quite short. But there was this repo that I went on, and it was for a van, either a van or an SUV. I don't remember that detail, but it was like a van or SUV. Anyway, I get there and I knock on the door. I already have the car up off the ground. I knock on the door, and this guy comes to the door, and this guy's messed up. Like, he's missing a leg and an arm, or part of his arm, and he has bandages. And at first I thought maybe he was like on a motorcycle or something, because it was one side of his body that was really jacked. But his other side was also bandaged up. So I thought it was just a motorcycle wreck or something like that. And so I was like, hey, dude, I need to take your vehicle, blah, 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 blah. It's been repossessed. And he's like, okay, that's cool. I just need to get my stuff out of the vehicle. I was like, yeah, that's fine. And I really needed the keys to the vehicle. So that's why I knocked on the door. Anyway, so he gives me the keys to the vehicle, doesn't ask me not once to leave the vehicle. He doesn't even try to stop me. Not once. But he gets out. He goes to the vehicle. I unlock it for him. And the second he opens the door, I see military bags. And then I look at the bumper, and then I see that he was a combat veteran and he got hurt. So he's trying to clean out the car, and I'm helping him. And I'm like, hey, dude, what happened? What's going on? And come to find out, he was like in an in-between stage. For those that were in the military, you guys probably understand this better than I do. But he got hurt, and he was in the middle of being medically discharged. But something happened, and his pay got stopped. But he wasn't discharged, so he didn't get his injury benefits for being discharged, but he wasn't getting paid. So it was kind of like this weird point where he was like stuck in between paperwork where things weren't filed and things weren't done, or they were waiting for like some kind of disability grading thing, or I don't remember all the details. But he was sitting there explaining it to me, and I'm like, oh man, dude. And when I'm looking at this SUV, this vehicle, van or SUV, I don't remember which one, I'd realized that the vehicle was actually converted over for his handicap. And so I asked him about that. He's like, yeah, he had just got the handicap part done to the vehicle so he could drive it, so he could get to his doctor's appointments and, try to take care of himself. I was like, dude, I can't take your car. There's no way. And he's like, no, no, it's okay. The military will get him to and from his doctors and stuff like that. There was like some kind of service or whatever, so he would still be able to get to his doctors. I was like, no, dude, you don't understand. I ain't gonna take your car. Um, so I dropped it right then and there, and I absolutely would not take that car. I told the bank, and I'm not gonna say what bank it was because I lied. And I told them that that car wasn't there. That every time I went to that address, the car was never there. But I told my boss the truth. And my boss was like, hey, somebody else will take that vehicle if they get the repo order. And I was like, man, I don't care, but I'm not going to take this guy's car. Um, anyway, long story short, I sent it off to a bunch of the non-for-profit organizations. And I was like, hey, there's this guy, blah, blah, blah. Gave the information that I had. And it was like 2 weeks or so later, the order was actually removed from my repo list. It showed that it was actually no, no longer out for repo. And so I was like, wow. So I ended up going to this guy's house, and he's outside, or I knock on the door and he comes outside. His vehicle got paid off, and he also had received a bunch of other benefits, um, and he ended up getting some food. A lot of things changed for him, and his paperwork ended up starting to get processed or something. So where he was like in the middle of losing everything, I don't want to start crying because this is like I've only dropped 2 vehicles ever and refused to take. This is one of them. The other one was actually a sheriff. Um, but that one was actually that was actually a really simple story. But this is the one time that I flat out refused to take this guy's car. Um, but dude, this guy, uh, and still to this day, the thing that gets me, okay, I would take somebody's car and they would curse and yell and bitch to me all day about taking their car, like how I'm destroying their life. This guy couldn't pay on his vehicle. The money he had, he used to have the vehicle converted so he can use it, but he couldn't afford it. He couldn't pay it. So he went out for repo. And he didn't even ask me not once to leave it for him. He said that he will figure it out. He will do something else. He would call for somebody to take him somewhere. Nah, bitch, I ain't gonna take your fucking shit. I'm gonna leave your car right where it's at. So yeah, I left that car. I felt good about leaving that car because I got paid $80 a car. That car was not worth $80 to me. I would not take that car even if I got paid $800 a car. I still wouldn't take that car. Uh, that guy, I mean, he was missing severe body parts, guys. And his arm was pretty jacked. I don't know if he had shrapnel and everything, but yeah, I wasn't going to take that car. So that's that on that one. And that was the only vehicle that I really truly just flat out refused. The other one, like I said, was a sheriff, and now it's a short story. Um, Thank you, Bill. Yeah, even recounting the story now, it still gives me goosebumps. Um, it's actually a story that very few people actually knew about at the time. My boss knew, and my family. Uh, I've told a few other people throughout the years, like a few of my students, but very few people actually knew that story. everybody that is watching this YouTube channel right now knows that story. Um, I highly doubt anyone's really going to be watching this video after this video goes live or after I'm done recording it because nobody really watches my live videos unless I'm alive. But uh, I felt good about that. I felt really good that day. Uh, and you know what? I would do it again. That guy, he paid a much higher price than I ever did. So, cheers to that, right? Uh, anyway, um, let me see if there was a. Oh, Bill, guardian angel working for me overtime. I think my guardian, if you watch the movie Mulan and Mushi, I'm pretty sure that's my guardian angel, and he about hates me. Um, there's been several times in my life where I actually had very happy people around me. Like somebody who tried to actually seriously hurt me. That's actually another story. Um, and that one was actually kind of funny, but yeah. My guardian angel, I seriously wonder if it's a small little dragon and his name is Mushi, and he is just winging it as he goes. For anyone that remembers the movie Mulan, they popped up like daisies. Uh, can't really say that like he did, but I still think that's very freaking hilarious. They just popped up like daisies. I took my 4x4 off a military base because damn, dude. Hey, Steve, what's up? Yeah, Michael. Getting vehicles off of a military base was always agitating or difficult because if I had to go into a military base to get a car, yeah, I had to get, military police to follow me. And it was always an ordeal. There's always a bunch of paperwork. Um, excuse me. So it was a process. Um, so yeah, I've only had to deal with getting a car on military base a handful of times, thankfully, but it's not fun. So you taking it off base and whatnot, that's actually extremely helpful for the poor repo guy that has to go get it. Steve, you're in Facebook jail for 5 days. Well, then I don't think you're supposed to be on the internet. Bad, 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 bad. You're not supposed to be on the internet if you're in jail. Oh, wait, just Facebook. Fuck Facebook. Uh, y'all, I am drinking root beer. I am drinking Dr. Pepper, not a beer. So, but I'm still, it's been a really long day. So if I'm getting a little silly, it's just been a long day. Yeah, so talking about the news, I don't want to go super political, but I honestly will say this, the political environment that we have going on right now is very worrisome. Where you have severe civil unrest, it's not good. I hope that the civil unrest comes to a conclusion, and we as Americans can get the issue resolved. So that the civil unrest can come to an end. Um, right now, no, I'm not driving. As of today, though, I was taken off of workman's comp. I don't want to go into a whole lot of details about some of that, but I'm going to be seeing a doctor this following Monday, an orthopedic, for my foot. And depending on the outcome of that, I might be driving later on next week. Just depending on paperwork and whatever the doctor ends up saying. So that's pretty much that right there. So I will know more Monday night, most likely, or have somewhat of an idea. Facebook jail is basically where you get, you know, you can't post or do anything on Facebook for X amount of time because somebody at Facebook got a little butthurt about something. They seem to get butthurt about a lot of things. Yeah, so driving a semi truck and all the civil unrest, the towns that police departments are walking away, and all of the civil unrest makes for a very dangerous environment to be a truck driver. During some of these protests slash riots, we've seen trucks that have been broken into, drivers being pulled out and hurt, and rocks being thrown at semi trucks and every other possible scenario. My personal opinion, if I'm going to go to a town, for instance, like Atlanta, Georgia, I'm not going to go into Atlanta, Georgia. So if Austin or San Antonio or any of those cities, you know, disband their police department, or there's no police or a very limited amount of police, I will politely not go to those towns, just for my own safety. It's pretty sad, the situation that's going on out there. And the thing that really kind of bothers me with the whole protester thing, as a truck driver, if you're stopping us from doing our jobs, right, how are we going to deliver food and drinks and fuel and everything to your town if you are going to attack us? If you attack us, we're not going to come to your town and you're not going to have anything. And you're going to starve. You're not going to have food. But I'm not going to go to a town where I can be hurt. Hell, I got hurt by a damn pallet of toilet paper. I don't want to get hurt by something else. Preferably not. So I'm not going to go to a town that has limited police or a lot of rioting going on. I'm just not going to. Now, if there's truck drivers that will, great. I'm not. Thankfully, Texas hasn't had too many of those issues. Texas has, especially Austin, has had quite a few different protests going on, but they haven't lashed out against the commercial drivers or the semi trucks like they have in other states and major cities. So I'm quite happy about that. I can do my job and deliver to those stores that can help the community get what they need, right? But unfortunately, it only takes a few bad apples in a protest that will attack a truck, and then truck drivers won't go to that town, and that will affect a huge population, until the police can resolve that issue or whatever happens. It's kind of sad. And then, yeah, Steve, I'm not surprised that a post that was made was flagged, but that's why on my YouTube channel, on my Facebook, everywhere, I don't get political. I have my own thoughts and feelings on a wide variety of subjects, but I try to keep my political views out of my public profile, so to speak, or public face. I believe that all lives matter, and I believe that the civil unrest is not good for the American people, and we as a people need to come together, right? This huge division that is being put in place is not going to do anybody any good. I just want to leave it at that. It's quite upsetting. Steve, you really cannot carry a firearm, because if you go to, let's say, like California, or to a state that doesn't doesn't take your Texas concealed carry permit license, or whatever state you're licensed from, you could easily catch a felony charge. That easy. So unless there is a federal concealed carry permit, like Trump said that he was going to try to do when he first got elected, or really any president makes a universal concealed carry permit, being a truck driver, you really can't be carrying a firearm with you, unfortunately. I honestly believe that, if you are a worker that has to travel in between states a lot, you deserve or should have the right to defend yourself and should be allowed to carry a firearm if you so want to. But then again, that's where I'll say, I'm a strong Second Amendment supporter as well as a strong First Amendment supporter. I believe that the constitutional rights were or written the way they were because our forefathers were very, very intelligent. And so I support every single one of our constitutional rights, very specifically the first and the second. You can't really have one versus the second. No, you cannot carry pepper spray because in some cities and some states they actually consider that to be a chemical weapon. So no, you cannot carry pepper spray. But what you can do is you can carry a bottle of wasp spray. Now, if you have a bottle of wasp spray, it's not to be used against people. Mind you, it's not pepper spray. But you know what? I've actually hooked up to some semi-trailers that has wasps. I'm personally highly allergic to them. No, you cannot carry bear spray because that is actually pepper spray. But if you happen to have, wasp spray, if you have to defend yourself, life or death, you're allowed to use anything. So if you had a military tank and you could pick it up like Superman and throw it at somebody, well, then I guess you're legally allowed to do that if you're in a life and death situation. Although if you could do that, you could probably just fly away and get out of that situation too, or use laser eye beams. That'd actually be kind of cool. Like a tire thumper. That is something that you should have on a semi truck. Or in my case, when I was OTR, I cooked on my truck. So I had a chef knife. If you have to defend yourself, defend yourself. But in all honesty, especially if you're a company driver, walk away from the truck. In most cases, it's easier and it's safer. But, if you're in a life and death situation, take care of yourself. And I will say this, if I'm ever out of Walmart and there's a shooter situation, I've even told this to my company, or to my dispatchers. If I'm at a Walmart and there's a guy shooting in the parking lot, like just going on a shooting spree or whatever, I drive an 80,000-pound truck that has a 500 horsepower motor. I know how to drop a gear and I will take that guy into the next town. Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to put up with that. I'd rather be, if I'm going to die or the chances of me being able to die, I'd rather die as trying to attempt to stop a situation than just being a victim. I'm not going to be a victim. I'd rather try and do something and help somebody that I could. It's the same premise I do even at a accident scene. There's been a few times where I've actually used the semi truck to block off a accident scene before the fire department showed up, and I've even been asked by the fire department to stay right where I was because I was doing a fantastic job until they got another fire truck there to take my place. So I consider that part of community service. If you show up, if you're the first person at an accident scene, especially if the car's on fire, you have a fire extinguisher, okay? Stop, get out, and do something. If somebody's hurt, I carry a limited first aid kit on my truck. If somebody is hurt, I'm going to stop and do something about it. It's just do what's right? Do what's right. And a taser is a deadly weapon, and you're not allowed to carry it in some states and cities. So until a universal concealed carry permit that comes out for every single state that allows you to carry blank firearm, you really cannot be carrying a firearm. It's pretty sad. But there's things that are on the truck that if you had to use, like the wasp spray or a tire thumper. But pay attention to where you're parking. Don't park somewhere by yourself in the dark in the middle of nowhere. You know, you got to be cautious about what you're doing, and then pay attention to your surroundings. You always have to pay attention to your surroundings. Um, yeah, common sense goes a long freaking way. I will say this: I've been driving for almost 3 years now, and I've never had a problem. Okay, but then again, I don't park somewhere where it's not safe. Um, I keep my doors locked. So if I'm somewhere where it's not safe, I'll lock my doors. Um, and just generally be smart about what I'm doing. Try to stay at truck stops if you're in a bad area of town, right? No, I've not always parked at truck stops. Sometimes it's rest areas, sometimes it's at a shipper or a receiver. There's been a few times where I parked, by myself somewhere, but I'll try to park underneath a light. I will try to park um, near a area where I'm not like hidden. I don't want to be behind a building, behind some trees where nobody will see me from the road. I want to be visible, but out of the way. So if I have to park somewhere where I don't know, trick is try to be by somewhere where it's lit. Don't be somewhere where it's completely dark. That's one. Be somewhere where you're visible. Okay. So don't park somewhere where nobody can see you because then you're just a target. So park where you're highly visible, preferably by a main street where they can see the truck. Um, and just ask yourself if you're trying to rob your truck, like, think about it, if you're the bad guy, is there cameras around you? Is there like, security cameras? Is there a security officer that's driving around? There's a security officer. I feel like comfortable about parking there. Is there a police station that's close? Can I be seen from the road? Things like that. Again, common sense goes a long way. Sometimes you have to shut down in, not very great places, but be smart about where you're parking. It's really that simple. Yeah, there's been a few times where I parked in front of a restaurant. Um, Texas Roadhouse is very truck friendly, especially with the whole coronavirus. They've been very, very truck friendly. Some of those Texas Roadhouses, they have big parking lots. Not all of them, but some of them do. Um, Hotels are also, truck friendly. So, I mean, if you have to park there, sometimes they allow you to park there. Now, they really want you to rent a room, but I've actually had like one or two hotels that, I can think of off the top of my head. They were like, yeah, you go ahead and park here for the night, even though I wasn't renting a room. So, just depending on the situation and where you're at, be smart. Um, yeah, malls are also a great place. They're well lit. Police generally patrol the mall's parking lot, and there's cameras, security cameras. So malls are fantastic. No, the Swift trucks do not have APUs. I wish they did. But honestly, if you need a medical device, the truck they'll let you idle the truck as much as you want. And then God, my nose is really itchy, y'all. Sorry about that. And then if it's above, I believe 62 degrees, the truck will idle. And then if it's below 32 degrees, the truck will idle. So if it's in between 32 and 60 something degrees, the truck will turn off. Um, Unless you have a medical reason or if you have a pet on the truck, then the truck will idle the whole time. Um, but that's something you have to take up with your driver manager, your terminal. Um, there's a little bit of a process to that. So, I mean, it's not the best scenario, but it is what it is. Uh, I've never had my tank siphoned. All the Swift trucks come with anti-siphon devices that prevent someone from being able to stick a hose in there. So, if they want to stick a hose into the fuel tank, they actually have to punch through a piece of metal that's in there that prevents a hose from going in or rip it out. Punching through it probably be easier. But then, you're sitting there with, a screwdriver, a hammer, and whatever else to do all that. So you're going to be making a bit of noise to do that. So I've never had anyone siphon the fuel out of my semi truck. Now I did have somebody do that to my pickup truck before. That pissed me off. But that was actually before I started working for Swift, so that was years ago. Um, Over in Dallas, Fort Worth, I'm not going to say where, but there was this guy. He was actually kind of funny, annoyingly funny. But he would go to pickup trucks, lifted Jeeps, SUVs, things like that. And he would climb underneath the truck, SUV, Jeep, whatever, and he would cut the bands that held the gas tank up. So the gas tank would just fall down, and he would take the whole damn gas tank. So you'd go outside, try to start your car, and realize that you don't have a gas tank anymore or any gas because he took the whole damn thing along with your Cadillac converter because he would take that as well because he was already underneath your car. So he did that for like a year or two. Um, there's a lot of really angry people, and there's one guy he hit like 2 or 3 times. Uh, anyway, that was kind of funny. Uh, Dumb question. There is no such thing as a dumb question. But if you have another question, go ahead and ask. Although I think when I get to 3 hours on this video, I think I might call it a night. 3 hours, that's the longest live video I've ever done. And I'm almost through my second soda. Surprise. You're surprised about Georgia. Hmm. I I haven't really heard too many problems out in South Carolina. Yes, I still work for Swift. I'm off of workman's comp now though. So with the whole workman's comp, there's insurance companies, there's medical doctors and medical doctors' opinions and yada yada yada. Um, so it was somebody's doctor's opinion that I'm fine. So they took me off of workman's comp. I'm actually not too upset about that. I've wanted to go back to work, but my foot is still messed up. Or I think it's messed up. Mind you, I'm not a doctor, but my foot is not right. To me, it's still not the way it was when I got hurt. So I'm going to be going to physical therapy. I mean, not physical therapy, to an orthopedic doctor, which I have not been to an orthopedic doctor yet. And they're going to take a look at my foot a lot closer. They're a specialist for that kind of injury. So hopefully he's just going to sit there and say, yeah, you're fine. Your foot structure is fine. Everything's fine. It's going to hurt for a long time. I'm hoping that's the case. But one doctor I've already been to, he's saying worst case scenario, or not necessarily worst case scenario, but it may be required that I need surgery. So if that ends up happening, then I'll have to get back with Swift about the workman comp thing. So I don't know what's going to happen. Right now it's kind of hands up, but I'm not upset. Everything's going just fine. But yeah, so I'll be going back. I might be working this week or this coming week. Today is Friday. And so might be back in a truck later next week. So I'm actually kind of excited about that because 3 months sitting around, I've been losing my mind. God, I've been losing my mind. Yes, Swift has been paying me. because I was actually off work due to a work injury. So if you get hurt at Swift, they pay 70% of your pay. So they take, I forgot how many weeks, they add it all up and then they divide it and then they get your average pay. Swift has been really freaking awesome about that. Everybody I've dealt with about my foot injury has been fantastic. Um, Swift side, the insurance side, nah, not so much. But at the same time, it's kind of what I expected, right? You know, their job is to try to be cheap. But Swift has been fantastic. The Swift charities, y'all, if you guys are not donating to Swift charities and you're working for Swift, please donate to Swift charities. They really, really helped me out financially. I haven't donated to Swift charities, but I'm going to be donating to Swift charities when I get back to work. So yeah, major thumbs up to Swift charities and Swift overall. People in Phoenix have been really awesome every step of the way. So super happy with Swift on that. No COVID-19 pay. I'm not out because of COVID-19. I'm not out because I was sick with COVID or anything like that. I was out due to purely the fact that I got hurt at work by a pallet of toilet paper. See, I have, going back to the Mulan thing, that's why I had Mushi as my guardian angel. I get hit and my foot gets messed up by a pallet of toilet paper. Pretty shitty. You guys all knew that joke was about to happen. You know, it's a shitty situation. It's full of crap. But yeah, you know, pallet full of toilet paper on the heavy oak pallets that Walmart uses, those big blue ones, you know, like 5 feet up off the ground, this pallet decided to do like a swan dive. And the bottom pallet like fell apart, right? So this pallet like swan dives, hits the inside of my right ankle, slightly above the ankle joint, and my ankle just kind of like goes, and then the top part of my foot gets crushed. Like this is being my big toe, right? So it kind of like crushes like this, and like my whole foot goes like all kinds of weird, like something like this, right? And then my leg is like coming way out here, and this is like all twisted, and yeah, it hurt. My foot was actually still underneath the pallet because I fell over. And so I'm on the ground, and there was 3 guys that had to come over to lift this pallet up off of my damn foot. Whew, it hurt. Yeah, well, there wasn't that short of a supply. I found a whole pallet. And what's really kind of funny is people use that toilet paper, and they didn't even realize that that toilet paper attacked me. It attacked me. Like flat out attacked. Michael, that's pretty funny. But thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. I'm glad that you came in for the live. I don't think I've seen you before. So welcome to the channel. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, and come back again. I recognize a lot of you guys. A lot of you guys come in on my live video, and definitely appreciate you guys staying this long with me. This is, like I've said already, an hour and 2.5 hours, coming on 2.5 hours and 1 minute away. So longest video I think I've ever done. So that's actually pretty freaking cool. Now, the other thing I'm kind of hoping to try to do this year is working on, I got 2 vehicles. I want to give those away. It's just a matter of just trying to get the time to do it and a place for me to do it at. The apartment complex I'm at, they don't allow me to work on vehicles here. So if anyone lives in Temple, Texas, or close, that would allow me to park a vehicle there and would even like to work on it with me, let me know. Um, that would actually be really quite cool because I would need a place to be able to put some tools and whatnot. I like to work on vehicles. I like to tinker, and I think that would be actually a pretty fun video series. I've actually done a few vehicle repair um, on my on this channel and a different channel that I had, and I like to try to get back into doing it more, and then turn around and give those cars away, for fun. And then also, like I said, when I get to 10,000 subs, I'll be giving away 10 ounces of silver to, celebrate hitting 10,000 subscribers. I never even imagined I would hit as many subscribers as I have already. Bill, definitely send me to your homies, friends, family, your neighbor, and anyone else. Definitely appreciate the views and the great comments. I get some really awesome comments here. Uh, Appreciate that, Steve, and I definitely do hope to get back on the road and making some great trucking type videos again. Really enjoyed doing them, and I have quite a few different videos I would like to get done. Um, and yeah, so that'll be hopefully happening this week. I guess what they say in the TV world, get back to your regular, TV programming, right? Uh, since I've been out for a little while. Anyway, I'm getting tired. 2.5 hours. I was going to try to go up to 3, but 2.5 hours, I think that's long enough. Yeah, that's long enough. All right, y'all. It is now going for 12 o'clock here, midnight, and I'm tired. So I'm going to say peace. If you're watching this video after today and watch all 2.5 hours, comment down below. Let me know you watched all 2.5 hours and give me some thumbs up. And anyone that has watched this video, if someone could go through and do timestamps and put it in a comment section, I'll pin it up to the top with a blow by blow topic of when I talked about all these different things. I should really been doing that along the way. But I didn't think it was going to be a 2 hour long video, 2.5 hours. So yeah, definitely hit that notification button. Down in the comment section, there is also a link to my Patreon. So if you could donate a little bit, $1, or just say hi, I do appreciate that as well. But you guys don't need to. I try to do excellent content when I can, but the money that I do get from that does help me, do more things for for my YouTube channel. So anyway, good night, everybody. Stay safe. Keep an eye on the political issues going on out there. Don't go somewhere where it's not safe. A little common sense goes a long way. And have a good night, everybody. I'm going to bed after I get done drinking this Dr. Pepper. It's a beautiful Texas drink. Dr. Pepper, if you like to send me some free drinks, I won't say no. I promise I won't say no. I really do like your product. Anyway, hope everybody had a laugh. Bye.